We are live.
Truth Booth. It's episode 9. It's going down right now here at the Truth Family Fitness. My name is Bear Christensen. With me always, Mr. Randy Abke and Mr. Shadi Assad. Today, we welcome Mr. Aaron Abke. He is a very driven and passionate spiritual leader. He found his love for helping people discover who they are and their purpose for life. And he happens to be a member here with us at the Truth Family Fitness. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on today. How you doing today, brother?
Epic intro, man. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, absolutely,
Did
man.
you write that?
Randy wrote it.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man, I watched some of your videos, and so I'm like, let me try and describe this man without really knowing him, right? And I guess that's the best I could do.
Yeah,
man.
no, because Randy was like, Bear, we got to have this guy on. And I was like, okay, well, tell me about him. And he sent me this podcast link, and I watched it. And then I was like, dude, I feel like I need a little more for an intro. He was like, bro, I got you. I'm going to send you something. So that's how it all came to be. But I had to make sure you had a badass intro, though. I was worried.
You guys did your research.
Yeah, I was worried about it.
Always,
so.
man.
So if somebody, let's say they're coming to you and they're like, man, I'm always, for some reason, I'm like always angry. So is there a route to finding that where that angriness is kind of coming from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you like pinpoint exactly? And like there's different methods to go down based on whatever.
I would love to. Yeah.
Let's go.
So this is actually like the main thing I teach if there's any kind of core teaching that I give. And I call it the 3 beliefs of ego, because it's just a really simple way to map what triggers us and what causes us to suffer and connect it to what beliefs are causing that trigger. So if we define what is ego, right, also a very ambiguous term, but
For sure.
we could say ego is the belief in being a separate self. So like, again, going back to the concept that we're all a part of this one energy, this one essence, God, whatever you want to call it. Ego is the belief that I'm not part of that. I'm a separate, independent being apart from that. And so a lot of religion perpetuates that idea of like, I have to worship this God and appease it and ask it for forgiveness. Where really like you are that being projected into a body and having a dream, you might say.
Okay.
You fall asleep at night, you have all these dreams, you wake up, you go, oh, the dream wasn't real, it was just part of my mind. Let's just pretend like God's doing that with us. It's just a much longer, slower dream, right?
Right.
So ego is that belief that I'm not part of the source, let's say. And so if once we believe that, which every person is born believing that, that manifests as these kind of 3 core subconscious beliefs that we don't know we have them, but they influence every aspect of our life and who we are. And the first belief is the belief in lack, which is like, I am fundamentally incomplete. There's just something missing about me, right? And so when that belief is working in the mind, you will feel sadness. And that's like the first root negative emotion is sadness. Lots of types of sadness: hopelessness, loneliness, disappointment, regret, shame. We could go on and on. But it's just different variations of feeling sad, right? So sadness is the emotional cue. I call this the emotional guidance system. Your emotions are actually telling you what wrong beliefs you're holding. Sadness is the emotional cue that I believe I'm lacking something. And as we said a minute ago, only what I don't give can ever be lacking. So if I feel like I'm lacking acceptance,
I'm not, or love, then I'm not giving.
I must not be giving it.
Love.
You got it, yeah. Or like, nobody approves of me. Why, I must not approve of myself.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's kind of I've never thought about the ego being a part of sadness or sadness being a part of the ego, right? You always think of ego as like either anger or just like self-righteousness and pride. Yeah, like I never think of it as like that person is just thinking of themselves as a detached from the source, like you say. Like that's kind of an interesting way to put the ego in that category too.
Well, like you look at a being like Christ, right, or Buddha, the enlightened ones. Enlightenment is the ending of that belief that I'm separate from the source. Right, so those beings who we call enlightened are just beings who've realized in themselves, if there is a God, I have to be that. There can't be anything else that exists. And that's a really deep realization to have, but it's possible to have that. And so when we believe we're separate, again, first, I believe that I'm lacking, because if I'm separate, it implies I'm lacking in something. And then the second belief of ego kind of flows downstream of the first belief, which means if I think I'm lacking something, that implies I have to go fill that lack with something. I have to go get completed somehow.
Yeah.
So that's the second belief of ego, which is my happiness depends on outcomes. right? External fulfillment.
Right.
And that's the belief that causes anger, like you said.
Okay.
The attachment to outcomes causes anger because what happens when an outcome or a goal gets blocked? You get angry.
You get angry.
Yeah. So if I'm angry, there must be some kind of outcome on the pedestal in my mind that I believe I need to be happy.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's that need. You're saying that you need happiness, and it's not being driven from within.
It's what you think you need.
Yes, exactly. What you really need is just to be at peace right now with yourself and with what is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, how many outcomes have we all achieved in our lives that we thought was going to make us so happy? And yet here we are still suffering from the same thoughts.
Still looking for something else.
Still chasing outcomes.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like what I want is not an outcome. What I want is just peace of mind right now.
Yeah.
Which you always have available if you stop chasing after the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, dude. Yeah.
He's breaking it down, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. Why haven't we just slowed the hell down and really thought about this?
Because I think, I can, with myself, I think I've dealt with being outcome driven. Like, okay, I do it here, with like revenue bringing in, I'm like, okay, I want to bring in this amount each month. And, if I don't hit that number, it's like, to me, I get angry.
Yeah.
So it's like that same exact saying there. It's like, don't be outcome driven, don't create that happiness to be like, I'll be happy when I get to that number, but creating that happiness within yourself, whether you get to those numbers or not.
When I think about it on a deeper level, and I just think like, when have I been the most happy, right? And it's not whenever I get something, or like if I get a new car.
I love where we're going with this. But keep going. No.
It's like whenever, if I'm happy, it's normally because the people around me are happy and they're enjoying the same thing I am. Either that, or I like sitting in front of a beautiful view just in peace and like stillness, or like I'm just with family and we're all like together laughing, enjoying our time, right? And it's just like enjoying that time specifically is when I feel the happiest, and those are the most fond memories that I have of being happy. And like I can tell you, like when I get a new pair of shoes, like I'm happy like maybe in that moment for a second, but then 2 weeks later it's like, okay,
next
like,
thing,
next thing, like I forget about them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
and I feel like you get caught in a hamster wheel if you keep doing it like that, and you start everything. Once I get that, I'll be happy, and you get it, and then the next thing you want something else, and then you go. Next thing you know, the rest of your life, creating your happiness based on objectifying things that you can get.
Yep.
yeah.
So that was beautifully said, and I probably switched kind of my mindset a little bit on the perspective of
it's so like it's just in front of us all the time, but we take it for granted,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, we all do, yeah. And that's something that we can probably all do a little bit better on, you know, on the appreciation side of things. Just because, like I said, I create these goals in my mind, and if I don't hit these certain goals, then to me it's like that. I'll get that sadness or that angriness that comes from it. And ultimately, that's not the way to kind of take on life and go from there. So,
what was the third part of the ego? That because you mentioned sadness, and then anger, and then there's one more.
So the third emotion is fear. And again, lots of variations of anger, lots of variations of fear, stress, worry, anxiety, paranoia, but it's all like fear, right, in the bucket of fear. So when you feel that vibration or that emotion, that's the third belief of the ego, which is the belief that I am in control of life. And so that kind of follows suit from the second belief, right? If I have to go complete myself in outcomes and stuff, well, then I'm in control of that. I'm going to go do it myself. And it's kind of this ignorance of the greater picture of life that's like, no, life's in control, and life does whatever it wants to do. Like whatever destiny dictates is what happens. And you're a part of that, right? You're also part of life. But a lot of times when we think we're in control, we work against life. We make life our enemy, and life is not giving me what I want to be happy. And so we fight and oppose everything that happens to us in our life, and that attracts more negativity.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just that belief that like I'm in control of life, rather than being humble and surrendering to life and saying, I'm here to do my best with what you deliver me. So like just be present with life, and whatever life brings to me, I do my best with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I can do. I can't control life. I can't control outcomes. That's totally above my pay grade.
Yeah,
just
there's no
one
way.
person, right?
You can't control the earthquakes, the hurricanes, the people driving drunk. You can't control any of that. Like, And when unfortunate things like that happen, it's how you react to it, right? And it's not like you can change any of that.
Yep. So when we think we're losing control, we get anxious, stressed out. It's slipping through our fingers. It makes us nervous.
Because I have a client. This will relate to it. He works at a car dealership, but he was just like, man, I have this one client. Like next week we have a meeting, and I feel like he's gonna like go off on me, and he's gonna blow up on me. And I was like, we can't be thinking way out into the future, because ultimately we have no idea how this person, you just try to focus on what we're living in right now, here and then. And then they had that meeting, and I asked him how it went. He goes, dude, it was totally fine. And I was like, see, you stress yourself out for that whole week thinking these scenarios in your head that were never actually a reality. And I think when people kind of create these scenarios and they try to do too much within their own head, that's how they get caught up with being anxious, kind of having the anxiety with it. And I think the best thing I've kind of learned was just like living in the present and just being kind of content with where we are and what we're doing right this moment, and not trying to think too far ahead. Otherwise, your head's just going to keep going and running in a little hamster wheel and just keep thinking of different scenarios, and it'll wear you out.
There'll probably be negative thoughts and negative energy of some sort.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
So how would you recommend for somebody, just generally, like to separate themselves from their ego and practice more mindfulness, so that way they're not running into these problems?
Yeah. Well, if you could just be really aware of those 3 beliefs, and every time you notice them running the show in your mind, and you just stop and say, wait a minute, and just correct it with the truth, the ego doesn't have any existence outside of those 3 beliefs. So it really doesn't exist in that sense as an entity or a thing. It's a belief system, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I used to give my clients, now I give my students in my courses, an affirmation for each of those 3 beliefs that you can just repeat when you feel that emotion. Because again, as soon as I feel the emotion, I know exactly what belief it is. I don't have to second guess or think about it too much. If I feel sad, the belief in lack is working. What do I think I'm lacking in this moment? So when you notice that lack belief is running, then the affirmation is, only what I do not give can ever be lacking.
Okay.
Just like a reminder, let me give that out.
Yeah.
For the second belief in outcome happiness, when you're angry, irritated, frustrated, that second belief is working. So I have my clients repeat, this outcome cannot give me anything I want. Or what I want is not an outcome. Just a simple reminder, right? The happiness isn't in that outcome.
And this could be anything, right? Like I could come up with my own mantra or
totally
practice that basically resonates with me.
Yep.
So immediately when I go to that place, I can just repeat that and calm myself down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever helps you remember what's true.
Yeah.
Is all you need, because truth is what sets us free. Truth is what brings us peace, right? So if happiness really was in the girl, the car, the whatever, it's not like I go to I have a nice car. It's not like I go to my garage and touch my car every time I want to feel happy.
That's not that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. It's all in my mind, right? And eventually that car wears off and I want a better car. So it's like, how many relationships have we gotten into thinking that, when I get this girl, I'm going to be so happy. And then it was just a nightmare relationship and you broke up with her and whatever. It's like, if you knew from the beginning that girl was just going to bring you a ton of suffering, you wouldn't have wanted it.
Right.
So it's not the outcome you ever really want, but happiness or peace of mind, which comes from not chasing outcomes.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you to just remember that is great. And then for the third one, which is the belief that I'm in control of life, is I just say, I'm not in control, I am being lived. So it's like life is living me. The whole show is being run by life. And I'm just here to participate in whatever way it wants. Yeah.
Okay.
Not control it.
Yeah, I see. Just kind of let life flow and let life do as it is, and you just so happen to be a part of the ride, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of peace and happiness comes from knowing that.